Hi, I'm Jenny. On this month's vlog, I want to share a little bit of wisdom with you. This month's vlog is dedicated to my AVID class of 2016, who graduated high school then and are in various transitional phases in their lives. Some of you I know are graduating college, and some are having another baby or your first baby, or moving, or looking to get your own house, or getting married, or looking at what your next move is. And so this is for any young person who's looking at their next move. And I don't think I am the wisest of the wise, but I have learned some important life lessons that I don't think are being shared or told to young people, and I want to tell you a couple of them today. So the first one is that all old people, we mean well, but we don't know anything. And what that means is basically every generation's different. Every group of people is facing different challenges, and although your parents and your grandparents and your aunts and your uncles and your mentors and everything, they all mean well, they don't know what it means to be your age in this time. I know what it means to be in my 20s, but then my 20s was a different time. And so we can't rely on the advice of our elders for everything. It's all got to be taken with what they say, that phrase, got to be taken with a grain of salt. But it's really true. I look back and I think, in my own life, when we talk about adulting, my mother wasn't really good at it. And so I looked towards my grandparents, but they were both, born during the Depression and going through the Depression. And my grandfather fought in World War II, so their time was different. And I bought my first house right before the market crash and ended up having to basically walk away from that house because it was worth way more than it was worth way less than what I owed. And that was a whole thing. But I did that because my grandmother said, as soon as you can, buy a home, because it's always going to be a good investment. And that was true for their generation. And it's not that she gave me bad advice. She gave me advice based on her generation, her experience. And so what I mean by not listening to us is, you can listen to what people say about specific things, but the world is always changing, the economy's changing, things are just changing all the time. There's a constant expansion going on, basically, in the universe. And so what I know for sure is based on what my experiences are, which are going to be so much different than yours. And so, yeah, you can still ask people for advice, but when it comes to it, really think, okay, that's their best advice given the time period they lived in. Really take it as that, So that's kind of my first thing. My next thing is a lesson I've learned really just recently is not to delay happiness. I don't know where this work ethic comes from. I see a lot of millennials like myself having a similar work ethic. I don't know if it's because we went through the market crash and we went through 9/11 and we've gone through a lot of different things that just show us that nothing is stable. But we, as a general group, I noticed, are pretty busy people and have a hard time relaxing and do a lot of delaying of happiness. So I'll speak for myself. I went to college and I tried to get out of college as fast as possible, even though I enjoyed it. And but the idea was get out and get a job and start making money, right away. Not go on a vacation, not enjoy anything about it, Turned down, I was offered to go live in another country for a while and teach English, and everything would be paid for. There was different opportunities to study abroad, and all of that would have changed the deadline in my mind of I got to get out of there as fast as possible and start making money and all of that. And what I realized is, in hindsight, there was no point in that. That was a mistake. I did the same thing with, until I have a steady job, I'm not going to buy a house. That's actually pretty good advice, though. But then once I bought the house, it's okay, I have a house. Got to wait till I get tenured before I have my child. So I had my daughter late in life, well, not late in life. 28 isn't super late, but I know many of my AVID kids are already starting on their families. But you do what works for you on your timeline. If you want to be a young parent and that's exciting to you, and then, you'll be you have that family and you're ready for it, you're ready. If you're not, you're not, and that's okay. You can never have a family, or you can start a family in your 40s or 50s. You're on your own timeline is what I need to say, is what I'm trying to get at. But yeah, delaying happiness, I've just, my mindset has always been like that my whole life. My cat in the background. But it's been, I can't get that really, I need to shop at like the really cheap clothing store until I get the career, or I can't have a nice bedroom set, or I can't, it's just all these ideas, these limitations I put on myself based on I can do that when. Like I had some imaginary timeline that said, at this point I can do this and whatever, and that's just so false. And so what I'm saying is, don't place those limitations on yourself. You really do only get to live this one life in this body, and whether you believe in reincarnation or not, but you only get this one time in this body, and to delay your happiness is a mistake. You should find joy every day and do things that make you happy, instead of putting it off for when you can afford it, or putting it off for when you think it's the proper time to do those things. And so just that's something I've learned recently, and I'm almost 40, so I've lived a long life of not yet. I kept telling myself not yet, and always playing it safe, and always making the safe decision, and doing what I thought other people would approve of, doing what looked good, making choices based on safety and not happiness. This is a safe career, this is a safe choice in a house, and whatever. Just always making those choices, not this house makes me happy or this town makes me happy. Part of why we're moving right now is that I never wanted to live here. I'm not going to say anything bad about where we live, and I have a lot of great things have come here. I met my husband here, my children were born here, and you can make happiness anywhere, but it's not where I wanted to be. As the dirt bikers race down the road, that's not, that wasn't what I envisioned for myself. And in fact, I didn't even envision for myself. It was kind of get the career and hopefully get the family. And then that's as far as the vision went. I didn't think about, where do I want to live, or what brings me joy, and what things do I want to do for fun. That was never entered my mind. So, don't delay that. Find the joy now in the everyday, and do little things now that will set yourself up for happiness in your future. And, I know no one saw this pandemic coming, and no one, was prepared for that. And what it's teaching us, I think, is to pause and reflect, and to think about, where are you right now? And is this where you really want to be? Because when you're forced to be home, or, even those people who are essential workers and are working, you're still going out less because things weren't open and whatever. It forces you to be with yourself, and to really, really be with yourself, and decide whether or not you like yourself. And if you do, great. And if you don't, you can work on that. And if you do like yourself, okay, is this where you want yourself to be? Is this the best place for yourself? Is this, what you could be? Are you making the most out of what you're doing right now? And you just ask yourself those questions. And sometimes they make us uncomfortable, and that's a good thing, because if that's what's going on, then something needs to change. And then the last thing I want to say is to trust your instincts, your gut feeling, your intuition, your higher self, whatever you want to call that. But for so long, I didn't do that. And I would constantly get that message that I shouldn't be doing that. Trust, your heart should line up with your mind. And if your heart and your mind line up, then you're making a really good decision. It's logical, but also you feel something from it. You feel happiness or joy or love, and you're like, yeah, this is the right thing. But a lot of times we only lead with the mind. And for the longest time, that's what I did. All my decisions were based on my mind. This is the logical next step. This looks good on paper. This makes sense. This is, going to be approved by other people. I didn't listen to my heart. And I think that's, a mistake. Your heart is, your soul and your love and your spirit, all of that, whatever you believe in, it gives you those feelings, and the feelings need to match up with the mind. Are you feeling good in this decision, or does this decision just make you think it's good? And so when in doubt, settle yourself and try to ask yourself, is my heart and my mind, are they one in this? Is this the right choice for me? So I told you not to trust older people, basically, and I'm older, so take what you want here. Listen to yourself, because really in the end, you're the one that matters. Even if you have children, your happiness still matters. So you really need to listen to yourself. And when making those decisions and looking into life, find the joy. Do not delay the joy. Okay? I love you guys. Sending everybody love and light.